Hello, my name is Bella and I've been working at the 13th Gate for 4 years now. As you might be able to tell by my costume, I currently play Mrs. Lovett in the 13th Gate's London section. I have 20 years of dance experience and I'm currently getting a master's degree in vocal performance, which means I am a trained singer, both in opera and musical theater. Today I will be talking about how to preserve longevity and prevent injury in your body and your muscles as a performer in a haunted house. So the first thing that I would like to talk about is how to be preventative before you come to work. And the most important step of that is, of course, hydration. You'll hear that you should bring plenty of water with you to your scene. That's important, but something that you should remember is that yesterday's water is today's hydration. That means before you come to work, you should be drinking an excess of water the night before and all day up until your shift. Incredibly important. Can't be replaced. Drinking water when you get to work is not the same and won't have the same effect. Still important, but different. If you don't get the opportunity to hydrate appropriately, you could do a trick that people use for hangovers. Singers like myself use it to prepare for auditions and performances. You could pick up a Pedialyte or an off-brand Pedialyte. It's a really good way to get effective hydration, but understand it does not replace water. It supplements it. Another way that you can ensure that you are on the path to preventing injury and having longevity as a performer in a haunt is to take vitamins. Remember, you have to take vitamins for up to 2 weeks to start seeing effects and come well nourished and get plenty of sleep. I know that haunt actors are notorious for not having enough time to sleep. We have day jobs, we have children, things like that. But all of these are important. Remember, it's very hard to prevent injury if you're already coming in exhausted, if you're coming in poor shape. Try and really be at peak health when you come to work so you're further away from that point of injury. So now I'm going to start out with how to prevent injury in the muscles. Essentially, we haunt actors end up doing a lot of repetitive movements. You know, either it's just a requirement of our scene or we find something that works and we stick with it. And that's great, but those repetitive movements, even if they seem really simple and mundane and non-strenuous, become very tiring by the end of the night and you will feel it the next day. So I want to talk a little bit about both warming up and stretching, two essential parts of essentially just making sure that your body is at a good point so it doesn't become susceptible to being overworked and getting to like a breaking point. So the first thing that we should talk about is warming up. It's statistically proven that injury, pulled muscles, things like that is more likely to happen to a cool body. So you should be warming up when you get to work at the beginning of your shift. So you can jog in place, you can do jumping jacks. The point is to get the blood pumping and raise your body heat so your muscles are warm. Something that I should note about keeping your body warm is that it can't just be warm at the beginning of your shift. As a haunt actor, you'll have customers on some slow nights come through really patchy. You'll have a lot of downtime in between. You want to keep your muscles warm, otherwise they're going to cool down in the middle of your shift, and once you jump back into it, once again, you risk injury. If you're in a really cold scene or if you're outside somewhere where it gets cool in autumn, you're going to want to, if possible, bundle up or keep a blanket in your scene just to keep your muscles warm. Even bring a hot water bottle if you can manage that. That's all going to be really helpful. All right, so now let's move on to the stretches. I've decided to demonstrate some stretches that I think will be particularly helpful to things that haunt actors do commonly. So the first thing that haunt actors do a lot is jumping and hopping. And that can really affect the calves, the Achilles tendons, and the tendons in the bottom of the feet. First stretch that I'm gonna do for you today is a calf stretch. So you're going to lean against a wall, put your hands against the wall, move back one leg at a time at an angle, about a 45-degree angle, and press your heel deep into the ground. Make sure that back leg is straight. Something that you should know for when you're stretching is for a stretch to be effective, you need to hold it for at least 20 seconds each stretch. So make sure to count your Mississippis while you're doing these stretches. So the next thing I'm going to show you is an Achilles tendon stretch. You can move into this easily from the calf stretch. You just bend that back leg that was once straightened and once again pressed into that heel. Press into that heel with your bent leg. You should feel a nice long stretch along the back of your Achilles tendon. Now I'm going to do a stretch for the bottom of the feet. What you're going to do is you're going to put your hands on the ground and bend your legs up underneath you with your feet on the balls. You're going to balance on your toes and press into the balls of your feet, and you should feel that stretch all along the tendons in the bottom of your foot. All right, so those are some really simple lower body stretches. I'm going to move a little bit into upper body stretches now. Perhaps you have a character that you use a particular posture for that causes a lot of shoulder tension, or maybe you are a drop wall, or you're lifting a prop all night long, or opening a door. That's something I do. We're gonna talk about the arms and the shoulders right now. This first stretch you will have done a lot in your PE classes. It's still very valid and important. You take one arm outstretched straight, and you pull it across your upper body with the other arm, once again holding it for 20 seconds. Repeat this on the other side. Now what you're going to do to stretch that shoulder, once again something you probably have done before, you then take one arm, stretch it up and bend it back behind your head, gently pulling on the elbow with the other arm. Okay, and now something that a lot of people forget to stretch but are actually really prone to injury are wrists. A lot of gymnasts will do this stretch because they put a lot of strain on their wrists doing their tumbling, and things like this can happen for hot actors too. So you're going to, with one hand, grab the other hand and push your wrist into that hand, extending your arm fully. And then you can flip the hand over and push once again into that hand with an extended arm. And repeat this on the other side. All right, those are some basic upper body stretches. I want to finish talking about the neck, because the neck also gets tweaked really easily. I really like to warm up the neck by doing head rolls. I'll go slowly in a circular motion to one side, and then I go back in the other direction. Once you've done this a couple of times, you can take the head and pull it completely over to one side, holding it there gently, and then repeat in other directions. And this in particular, you'll see a lot of benefit. You'll notice that your neck is not sore the next day. Like, it takes so little effort, but it really pays off. So those are some bodily stretches. I finally just want to talk a little bit about recovery. You need to prepare before you come to work. You need to do the right things when you're at work, and then to make sure that you can consistently have good performance throughout the season, just take a little bit of time at the end of your night to make sure that you are rewarding your body so you can come back the next day and be just as good. Something that I want to recommend for your body are Epsom salt baths. You can also stretch again at the end of your shift. Stretching at the beginning and the end of your shift can be very helpful, because at the beginning of your shift, your muscles are going to be tight. At the end of your shift, your muscles are going to be worn out. So you can kind of stretch them, get them back into that good place. And the warmth of the bath and the Epsom salt will also help to treat muscle fatigue. You can also use ice and heat alternating. Ice it for a little bit, then apply a hot compress for a little bit. These are all ways that you can really get your muscles back to a nice, relaxed point so they can heal and be fresh for the next day. Yeah, take this, apply it to your practice as a performer, and I promise you, you will see some benefit. I really hope that these tips, warm-ups, and stretches for your body and your muscles are going to be really helpful in your performance practice. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in again next time.